I'm Georgeana Trofim. I'm a VP Engineering and Data in Booking.com. And I am very excited to be here, and at the same time very terrified to be here. It is the first time that I speak publicly. I mean, of course, I've spoken, but, you know, thank you. I've done some speeches before, but only within my company. And so in those cases, people sort of have no choice. But you guys chose to be here, so this better be good, I'd say. Let's start. My story here starts in a beautiful afternoon. Imagine Amsterdam. It is April, it's spring, it's sunny outside. You know, the long, dark winter days are behind us. And what's even better, it's Friday. Friday afternoon, and not any Friday, but the Easter Friday. Right? So we're looking and Booking, engineering community, very excited looking at a long weekend ahead. Everyone wrapping up, sprints are done, retrospectives, everything. We're slowly thinking, oh, maybe it's time to go. And then alerts start popping by. Something seems to be wrong with our Android app, and very quickly with our iOS app. But then the alerts, a couple of minutes later, clear themselves out. Ah, all good. Half an hour later, happens again. Ah, they clear themselves out. All good, still. We think, oh, it's a Good Friday, so probably people are not booking that much because they already booked, because they're already traveling, so maybe it's normal. No? Let's get ready for the weekend. And then 3 p.m., yeah, alerts come back, both Android and iOS app, and they don't clear out anymore. Becomes very clear, we have a problem. What you see on screen is projected transactions versus actual transactions. So we monitor this real time, right? We've developed a way within Booking, so for every single day, every hour of the day, we are able to plot how many transactions, bookings, we expect. And then we check how are we actually performing versus that. And then when the diff is significant, alerts pop by. And that tells you platform is not healthy. We have a problem. So this is the story of this Friday afternoon outage. It was on the screen before, it said outrage, Booking.com outrage. So if you're here for the outrage, it's not going to be that. It's just going to be an outage. Before I tell you what happened, let me take a bit of a detour and tell you first, what is Booking.com? What are we doing? We're one of the largest travel platforms in the world. That's what we are. And we've seen, we've all went through the pandemic time and the lockdowns and everything. And what we've seen after that is an amazing recovery of travel. People really, really want to go out there and experience the world. And that's what we are here for, to make it easier for everyone to experience the world. But what are we, really, right? So we're a travel platform. We sell a multitude of products. We have flights on our platform. We have taxis, car rentals, accommodations. This talk will be about the accommodation space. And what we are is effectively in that space, we're a two-sided marketplace. We have on our platform today about 3.3 million partners. And when I say partners, I mean hotels, right? Apartments, villas, chateaus, you name it, right? Partners. And in the last 12 months, let's say last year, we've had about 160 million travelers, bookers on our platform. So this is what we're looking at. And let's look a bit further at the numbers, because I think it's important to understand the size and therefore the complexity of this platform, so that then you understand why this outage is difficult to pinpoint what the problem is. So just to pick a couple of numbers, we operate in 45 languages across the globe. We cover 150,000 destinations worldwide. Cities, villages, areas, 150,000. And to segue a bit into the complexities of our platform, our search is called 1.5 billion times per day. Pretty decent, I'd say. So how is the platform that sits behind all this business, right? We're looking at a multi-layered architecture. So as a request comes in, either from the partner hotel side or from the traveler side, we hit an entry layer, right? We do a little bit of routing, bot detection, and all that. Then we go into presentation layer. And then underneath, there's the business logic. And then under that, there's the business intelligence. Let's call it the data layer, right? But let me go a little bit deeper into that. Yeah? So you see here the multi-layered architecture. The reality of it is Booking.com is a large company, global company, and it has been operating for more than 25 years. Which means part of the technology stack has been built a long time ago, right? So we are still looking at a large part of it being part of a monolithic architecture. And then in the last years, we've been working quite hard to transition this into a more modern technology stack, multi-layer architecture, services, and so on and so forth. But this is work in progress, right? So transforming a large-scale company, the technology behind it, is a multi-year program. If you're interested in how do you do transformation of this scale, then my colleague Ronan has a talk tomorrow afternoon exactly about this. How have we approached it? You know, how do you effectively modernize your plane while it's taking altitude, right? While you still keep growing the business. I'll pick one example to explain, you know, aside from the numbers, right? We're looking at hundreds of mobile app modules, tens of microservices. We're looking at thousands of, you know, libraries and scripts and services in our platform. Then we go to the data layer. We're looking at thousands of tables and other data assets, hundreds of machine learning modules, all coming together into this gigantic ecosystem, right? But let me just pick an example so you understand a bit why I keep saying it's complex. No? Imagine you own a hotel. You are a hotel owner. It's in the mountains, I don't know, north of Italy, right? It's beautiful there, and you have this hotel. It has 10 rooms. And you want to add it to Booking.com. Just think about it for a second. What would you do, right? What do you need to do? Well, you're going to go to the booking platform, register your hotel and your entity, add the address for it, and then start configuring your rooms. Maybe they're not all the same, right? You have single beds, double beds, bunk beds. Maybe one has a balcony, another one a garden. Maybe you're thinking, oh, how do I sell this? What's my rate? Do I do different for weekends versus weekdays? I'm in a ski resort, maybe it's different pricing in December versus May, and so on and so forth, right? And you configure all this. We call this inventory. Okay. So this is what partners give us. They give us inventory in our two-sided marketplace. But we don't sell inventory. Travel is a function of time, right? People come into our platform and they look for specific location for specific dates, right? And so what we do is we take the inventory and we add the time dimension to it next to all the other complexities, and we generate what we call availability. And this is what we show to customers. So if you come, open your mobile app, and you go to booking.com and you search for something, what you will see there is availability, right? And that is complex, again, because you're looking at the type of room, then you're looking at, hey, cancellation policy, does it have breakfast or not, and so on and so forth. So there's tons of things that come into this. Again, to talk about the size, we call the things you see on search results, we call them blocks. We generate about 2 million blocks per second. Yeah? Because partners come in, they make changes, they add new rooms, etc. This is what we generate. So we effectively pre-calculate and cache this so that for the customers, you know, the search results load within milliseconds, not within minutes, right? It's the gist of it. Going back to the outage, all right, we had a problem. I talked about these hundreds of services and all that. We monitor everything. That's one of the things I want to make clear. We have monitoring system. When something is wrong, there's a little bit of logic, and then the team that owns that particular system is alerted, is notified, depending on the criticality and the gravity of the incident. It can be via email or Jira, or you get a page and whoever is on call needs to step in and fix it. And for the majority of cases, like the vast majority of cases, this is what happens, right? You have a service that all of a sudden doesn't work, you get a notification, go in, the problem is known, fix it, moving on. This case, however, that I'm talking about today is different, because you saw the graph. The platform is not fully down. We just leak bookings, right? So where exactly is the problem, right? In this gigantic ecosystem with thousands of things and thousands of changes every day, how do you find what is actually wrong? This is what we do: panic. Panic. We call it the panic button. It is an actual digital button, and it's on a completely different infrastructure. So even if the platform is such melts down, the panic button will still work. The panic button effectively sends a broadcast message to the engineering community, saying, guys, we have a problem. We need all hands on deck. If you know you've made changes, if you have a sense that you can help, please join the call. That's what happens. Come into the call and try to identify what the problem is and fix it as fast as we can. I'll just talk 1 minute about this. No blame. When we have an outage, there's only one thing that's important. Find the problem and fix it. There's no time for, oh, who did this? Who, finger pointing or whatnot. That is really counterproductive. The only thing you want is to find the problem and fix it. Once it's fixed, the only thing you want, in our case, is learn from it. How do you make sure this doesn't happen again for this system or for any other system, right? So no blame. You want people to wake up the middle of the night, join the call, fix the systems? No blame. What's our process? So we press the panic button. We have, 40, 50, maybe more engineers joining the call. People with different expertise starting to look, hey, what happens with the monitoring? Are all the systems okay? Let's dig through the changes. Let's find out what's causing this problem, right? That's firefighters, that's experts. We appoint an incident leader when we have an incident. The reason for that is you have a dramatic situation, an outage is usually very dramatic. You want to have a captain on that ship, someone who takes decisions, someone who makes sure, okay, all voices are heard, but this group is going to follow this lead, this group is going to follow this hypothesis, then you're going to come back with what you found, and then we decide again, what do we do next? What do we do next? A captain on the ship. To free up the captain, we also have these communication roles, right? Someone to manage stakeholders, all the VPs freaking out what's going on with the outage, right? Someone to manage the comms on that. And also someone to keep the log, a scribe, right? What's happening, what discussions are happening, what decisions are taken. So after that, we can analyze what can we do better next time. So our problem, right? We have the big platform, and we have a diff in booking. It shouldn't be there. Everything seems fine on surface, but we're leaking. So what do? We start looking at, why is it only mobile app? What does that tell us? Why is web not affected? What's the problem there? Can it be something in the app? Is it something specific in the monolith that has to do with the app logic for some reason? Is it something in the modernized new services that has to do with this particular logic? But then you start thinking, all right, but it's not like we're flatlining, no transactions anymore. It's just some of them don't work. So what does that tell you? Is it the hardware? Is it, in one availability zone, something stops working? Is it maybe some of the servers are being upgraded? Like, is there some puppet magic happening? Is it that, part of the fleet is getting security patches or whatnot, and as users that join the pool, they're broken, maybe? Can it be something in the data layer? Can it be, some asynchronous process manipulating some of the data, and then the booking doesn't work, or maybe the availability is no longer there, or what is it, right? After a couple of hours of this, validating different hypotheses, yes, it was indeed an asynchronous process, a cron job, to be more specific, who is running 4 times per day. A cron job runs every 6 hours, takes about 4 to 5 hours to run, and it is combing through availability data, double-checking if indeed all the rooms are still available, or some have been booked and we haven't updated, or whatever. And the change during that Friday morning, a change has been pushed on that particular cron job, fixing something, not super critical, but fixing something. And it was pushed while obviously the previous version was running, because it takes time. It only goes every 6 hours. So you don't really see what's happening right away, right? And as it was running, it was checking availability, finding some of it invalid by mistake, because it was a bug, and taking it out, removing it. So little by little, our platform shows less things, so people book less things. Once we found it, pretty straightforward, right? Stop the cron, roll back to the previous version. OK, that was working, start that one. And yet, the bookings don't come back up. And so you think, our data is actually corrupted, right? This cron went and removed stuff, and there is nothing to put it back now. Press the panic button again, call the database administrators, restore from a backup, all good. Finally, around 11 p.m., things are back to normal. Celebration, finally, the weekend, yes, all good. I'll close with a couple of lessons learned. And the more I thought about this and prepared for this presentation, I found a lot of things that are really interesting. That I'll just anchor on a couple. Just monitoring availability or latency, just the tech metrics for all your systems is simply not enough. On a large-scale platform like this, each of one of them can work well, and yet the combination can be broken. So it's super important, I think, that you have a business metric, an overall metric that says, hey, my platform as a whole is performing, and track that. Thank you.